Hello there, comrades. Oh, I mean patriots. A little more stream of consciousness. That's just a fancy way of saying I'm a little unprepared, but this stuff's like rapid fire and it's an educational piece and I want to get it out there. Kind of what I see that's going on in the world. So again, what I do is I take in information and I just put it back out. And it's up to you to, if it resonates with you, to keep it with you or to just throw it to the curb. Okay, but I appreciate you guys tuning in, checking it out. So today we're going to talk about socialism distancing and some of the words that came from Yuri, and I'll spell that, Bezmenov, and that's Bezmenov, former KGB operative, 1985, he went on TV, you can look it up, you can see the video. And so these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 things that are going on in society, and you can make up your decision as to where we are currently. 1, demoralization. Okay, it's done through our education system. It's usually a 15 to 20 year process. It's intellectual programming, reprogramming. It's actually programming because they just came to Earth, so they're not being reprogrammed, they're being programmed. Young people to become sympathetic to socialism and communism, and then eventually they take over leadership. So I would say circa people that were born mid-80s, they start getting indoctrinated, probably early 90s, and they're gonna come into power soon. They're about to turn 40 or so, and they're gonna be in these decision making. So it's the perfect storm of all this going on. Now, the next one that Yuri talks about is number 2 is destabilization. The promise of a larger and larger government safety net. And you can see this with universal basic income, with the stimulus stuff, $600 up and above what you normally make on unemployment. So basically for the demoralized, it's just too much to resist. It's just too good. The money's just too good, okay? Seems like that's going on nowadays. Number 3, crisis. I think there's some crisis going on. Social unrest is to divide the nation. Okay, it's just like in Egypt and Libya with Muammar, all that good stuff, the Arab Spring. When the people rose up, they rioted and they overtook the government of Egypt. Okay, that's one of the more recent things for those that are in the know. Yeah, so it's basically a shift of power within the government, and you can think AOC, the Green New Deal, okay? These are the tempting little low-hanging fruit that they offer. Next, we have normalization. Does that sound familiar? The new normal. The new normal. Okay, so the new normal is just being stuck in your house and being locked down, because that's what a true patriot does. So normalization, acceptance of socialism and communism. No longer fight governance at all, world governance, okay? You don't fight the daddy figure. You say, well, there's crisis in the world. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, you give the reaction, and they will give the solution. Because you're gonna say, Daddy, can you have a solution for me? Okay, so normalization is happening. Okay, so a lot of this is being driven by the top down. Okay, so when you look at, again, the old COVID thing, it's from the top down. You know, they're telling you how to react to this stuff. So the education piece in all this, and we can turn this around just to get back to some basic patriotic values. And I'm going to talk a little more about my criticisms of capitalism and also kind of how they're using that against kind of the Constitution and the American way as I see it. So we have to do education on freedom, your autonomy as an individual. You know, basically I won't hurt you, you won't hurt me, the golden rule, some spirituality. Okay, so it's some teachings on freedom for if you have young people in your life. Teach them about democracy. Teach them about capitalism, and I'll go into that a little bit more because again, we kind of have cronyism right now, but capitalism and free markets, it's one and the same, are very important, and historically they do well better than just spreading out the wealth, so to speak. It's not even about spreading out the wealth. Like I said, communism is future-based, and many hundreds of millions of people, 100 million people have died just in the 20th century alone, just for this future utopia. Okay, and civil liberties. This is something we have to talk about as well, because again, we have a generation that's been conditioned to not really care about their civil liberties a whole lot. So to bring all this together, I'm going to talk about macro finance a little bit. Just all kinds of stuff. I'm all over the place here. So I'm going to try to keep this moving. I'm about 5 minutes in. Hopefully keep rolling here. Okay. So as I said before, the new normal, no civil liberties. You know, you're always in a quarantine state, okay? You're quarantined when you're sick. We're not sick, okay? Just because you have the antibody, it doesn't even mean you got sick. So again, on either sides, and I'm not on either side. I'm not left, right. I'm in the center. I'm like an asshole, okay? In the center. And with that, you get rid of the past. And that's a healthy thing, okay? You don't need all that stuff welling up in you. So sometimes it takes guys like me in the center to kind of clear out those energies, okay? So the bailout in 2008 and 2009 was not capitalism. That was socialism, okay? The weak company should have died off. Because when you bail out a company that is a shitbag company like GM, because of misleadership and too many vice presidents, this, that, and the other, essentially what you're doing is you're saying, that's a tax on the companies that do perform. So if you do well, you get a tax on yourself. That is socialism, friends. That is not capitalism. That's cronyism. That's corporatocracy. Okay? So if you drink, you know, and smoke cigars and drink with the right people, you get bailed out. Too big to fail. Okay? That's not free markets. I am a big proponent of free markets. Okay? So it needs rebranded. Okay? Capitalism. Everyone can agree free market sounds like a good idea. Of course it is, okay? Because capital goes where it's supposed to. And for you young people, this is what I would love to see in life. And I'm getting off the subject here a little bit. But I would love to see everybody gets their training, their schooling, you know, a whole different paradigm if you ask me. But we won't get into that. I only have so much time. But you get your training till 22, just like we do now. And then you work your ass off for 20, 30 years, okay? That puts you at 52 years old. And then, as far as I can see, you should enjoy the last 30 years of your life. But you got to save to the point where you have capital. And capital is not what you think it is, okay? Capital, if you're aware, is just after all your expenses that you have some savings. And then that savings, you got to get it out of paper. You got to get it out of USDA money. You got to get into assets, okay? And have your money working for you. That's a little side note. But, you know, there's no reason that you know... If you get your shit together and you work hard your first couple of years, your first 20, maybe even 30 years, but after that, man, you should be able to coast. You're 52 years old, and I know that sounds old when you guys are young. I get that, but my gosh, you have another 30 years to live after that, and let your money do the work, okay? So, again, socialism has the moral high ground. They say, oh, we're here to help the poor, but this doesn't help the poor at all when you just redistribute the wealth. Again, we support the government doesn't support us. If you don't rely on, this is bizarro world, this is the carnival mirror that is 2020, okay? It distorts everything, okay? Do you know what I mean by the carnival mirror? Of course you do. So if you aren't down with the government supporting you, you're unpatriotic. Oh, really? So it's interesting. So basically with the universal basic income, when no one's actually producing something and people are just, the money printer is just going, and they're just giving you money and they're just showering this money on that you think so great, commodities are going up, your purchasing power is going down. You being able to save any capital that's going to be able to work for you in the future, it's just not going to happen, okay? So we live in this society that is a debt society. They want you to be on the treadmill forever. I'm actually trying to be on your side and empower you, okay? If you care about the poor people, you care about free markets and that they make sense. So let's talk about FedCoin and how it's Orwellian as well. It's extremely Orwellian. It's just, you know what I mean? I love life, but at the same time, my eyes are wide open. So this woke mentality, I could do a whole video on that. But this whole woke mentality and how damn virtuous you are, let me tell you about that. So basically what's going to happen is once they have a FedCoin and you have a personal checking account, if you will, with the federal government, and it's coming. You're not going to stop it. I can't stop. No one's going to stop it. Once that happens, okay, guess where you're going to be able to spend your money at? What businesses are left, that is. It's going to be these huge corporations that shoot the money back up. And then in addition, guess what? You can only spend your money at places where there's a woke mentality. Environmental, social governance, ESG, check it out. So that is the wave of the future. And this is the bill of goods that they're selling us, okay? So if those businesses aren't behind Take a Knee and whatever the political correctness is of the day, no dissent, get in line, 1984. And guess what? Your Fed dollar doesn't work there. It's pretty scary. It's pretty Orwellian. It's real. Social. Checking account, I talked about that. 2001, the Patriot Act, this is where it all started. It's the new norm. You know, get in line. And Patriot Act, oh my Lord. 2001. So basically submit to freedom is what it's all about. And you don't think there's a crisis that happened and they don't want you to submit to submit to authority and get rid of your freedom. And that's what we have going on today with this C virus thing, okay? If you don't voluntarily wear the mask, you're not submitting, you're not virtuous. And there's people that are attacking other people. So the little brown shirters are coming out, you know? So yeah, we have to assume responsibility. You know, no one's coming to help us. The government's not here to help you. Like I said, short term perhaps, but that's not what this country is based on. You know, you got to be an entrepreneur. You got to make money for yourself. But this just sitting around and just hoping someone else is going to save you, it's not going to happen. You are the one in charge. You know, you got to save yourself. No one's coming. So this is interesting too. The Great Depression, I don't say this to scare anybody, but is this, if you do have assets and money, you better start thinking, start making some moves, okay? Because we're in Disneyland right now, the stock market. That's the first domino, and it's artificial as hell right now. It's not even tied to reality of what's coming in, okay? What profits they're actually making. There's no profits, okay? So profits are down, revenue's down 90%. Stock market goes down about 50%. And now it's back up to about 90%. That's bizarre world, folks. So again, just an information piece for some of the older people perhaps that do have some money that you might want to do something about. So the Great Depression, we had about 1,500% unemployment in the first 2 years of the Great Depression. We did that in 4 months, people. So get ready, the tsunami's coming. And I don't say this because all of the sky's falling, but you know what I mean? I'm a happy person. It's because I can see where things are going. So it's just a wake-up call. It's information. Yeah, so once this stimulus ends, the $600 and this PPP thing ends in September, which it won't, because let me tell you, Trump wants to get reelected. Trust me, more money is going to flow. And what politician wants to commit suicide by not spending more money? But you see, when we all get on this thing, this mediocrity of like, this is what you're going to make, try taking that bone away from people. It's going to be really difficult. So don't worry about that. There will be more money. Trust me. 26 trillion is what the budget's at now on the books at the Fed, but it's going to go higher. So 20 to 25% of small businesses will be going away, and they are 50% of the economy. You do the math. You tell me what's shaking down and what's happening. Okay, so that's about it. We have to kind of shoot for truth over consensus. We need intellectual rigor, and we need people to wake up, kind of take a look what's going on. You take in information like this, and you figure it out yourself. Okay, God bless you all. I appreciate it. Again, intellectual rigor. Get out there, figure out what's going on, and we need to look for truth, not consensus. This consensus stuff, man, this is not good, man. This is socialism in action. Consensus? Seriously? What about a meritocracy? The best get ahead. Okay. Kardashian for president? Do you want consensus? That's what I thought. All right. Love you guys. Peace be with you. And take care. See you tomorrow. God willing. See you. Bye.